This is the Evening News, so Wednesday, November 19, 2014. I'm Michael Young. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight, Unicommerce commissions US $6 million distribution center. Policemen slapped with 5 charges, including assault, discharging a loaded firearm, and removing evidence from a crime scene. UN Youth Forum opens in Guyana. Government optimistic opposition would respond favorably to invite for talks. Hardin recovering from surgery, and Cuban doctor diagnosed with Ebola in West Africa. It's now time for the news in detail. Let's tell you first that Unicommerce Guyana Incorporated, home of Courts and Lucky Dollar, has commissioned a new multi-million-dollar distribution center in Guyana. Here are more details from Vanu Manichan.
Unicommerce Guyana Inc. has opened a state-of-the-art US $6 million distribution center earlier today at the Eccles Industrial Site, East Bank, Demerara. The 60,000 square feet facility has the capacity to accommodate 18 loading trucks simultaneously and can house about 20 containers in the compound. Speaking at the event, Managing Director of Unicommerce Guyana, Clyde DeHaas, said that the expansion was necessary to facilitate the growth in business. The commissioning ceremony was attended by several officials of the Unicommerce Group. The Executive Vice President said that this investment in Guyana is reflective of the company's confidence in the country's economy. The mega distribution center currently provides employment to 50 persons and is expected to increase in the near future. These persons underwent training sessions in order to effectively operate machinery. On this note, President Ramotara remarked that it is important to develop the human capital of any country.
And that is what we have been investing in heavily over the recent years, to want to provide for investors, for government, and for investors as a whole, a workforce that is highly educated and second to none in the world.
Unicommerce has been serving Guyanese for the past 20 years.
Police Constable Sean Roberts, who has been serving the Guyana Police Force for the past 9 years, was today arraigned on several offences before he was granted $200,000 bail. The man appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before the presiding magistrate, Anne McLennan. It was noted that all of the charges occurred on September 11th at the Eccles East Bank Demerara area in the Georgetown Magisterial District. The first charge alleged that he unlawfully assaulted Julian Knights. The second charge alleged that he made use of threatening behavior to Knights. The third charge alleged that he discharged a loaded firearm to Leroy English so as to either maim, disfigure, or disable him. His penultimate charge alleged that he unlawfully and maliciously inflicted grievous bodily harm to English, and his final charge read that he allegedly removed spent shells from a crime scene with the attempt to disrupt the course of justice. The first-time offender pleaded not guilty to all 5 of the offences. Police prosecutor Gordon Mansfield did not object to bail being granted to the defendant, but asked that it be in a substantial sum. Bail was granted on the conditions that the defendant lodges his passport at the magistrates' courts and reports to the Brickdam Police Station every Friday. Roberts will make his second court appearance on December 15 at the Providence Magistrates Court. A large number of youths from all across Guyana turned out today for the United Nations launch of its Consulate Youth Forum and State of the World report at the Princess International Hotel. Details from Erica Williams.
Amongst the speakers present at the opening of the 2-day forum, held under the theme, Realizing the Future We Want Post-2015, UN Resident Coordinator Khadija Musa said the forum is about preserving the future of Guyanese youths. She urged the youths of Guyana to keep abreast with the global and regional discussions that affect their future. Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Dr. Frank Anthony, congratulated the UN and its partners for the formation of the Millennium Developmental Goals. However, Anthony said while there is much to celebrate on the accomplishments of the MDGs, there is still a lot of work to be done.
But despite all of these efforts and the accomplishment that we have had so far, there's still a lot of room for improvement. And so when we look at MDG 1 in 9 persons remain hungry across the world. 58 million young persons still remain out of school in the world. Women still face discrimination in access to education, in access to work, and in participating in decision-making processes. 6 million children still die before their 5th birthday, and only half the women in developing countries receive the recommended health care during pregnancy.
The State of the World report, also part of today's event, also focuses on youths. The 25th anniversary of the signing of the Convention of the Rights of the Child was celebrated, and the State of the World's Children's Report was also launched. The consultative forum will contribute to ongoing efforts of national actors to engage youth dialogue on emerging sustainable developmental goals, a part of the developmental agenda that follows the MDGs. Reporting for the Evening News, I am Erica Williams.
Vice-Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Jacob Obadiah, has called for stability and good governance in light of recent decisions to prorogue the Parliament and the no-confidence motion put forth by the Alliance for Change.
We're looking for a future that creates equity with everybody. I want a future of governance, of stability. A governance system that has no vote of confidence and no proroguing of the Parliament, because there's respect for one another.
At the launch of the United Nations Consultative Youth Forum today at the Princess International Hotel, Obadiah encouraged youths to become proactive in crafting their future. In addition, he told the gathering of youths from across Guyana to look at a future where education is entirely free. He said all schools across Guyana should have the same facilities and trained teachers. Youths were told to create their own history where there is respect and tolerance for each other.
No matter what we do today, one of these days we are going to be having gays and lesbians being president, being my daughter, my son-in-law, and we can't change that future. And therefore tolerance becomes very important.
Since President Donald Ramotar prorogued Parliament to preserve its 10th life and facilitate dialogue with the opposition leaders on November 10, members of the combined opposition have since refused to speak with the President. The President has dispatched an invitation letter to the combined parties to restore political stability. The opposition leaders, however, continue to refuse dialogue. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Erica Williams.
President Donald Ramotar, and by extension his cabinet, remains optimistic that the government and the opposition can arrive at a consensus despite the current political atmosphere, as we hear in this Svetlana Marshall report.
With his high level of optimism, President Donald Ramotar on Tuesday dispatched letters to the Partnership for National Unity (APNU) and Alliance for Change (AFC) to engage in tripartite discussions on the way forward. Head of the Presidential Secretariat and Cabinet Secretary Dr. Roger Luncheon today said the President remains steadfast in his belief that dialogue can lead the country out of this current crisis, even if it is the last resort.
I believe that it was the President's fervent hope, which he repeated at Cabinet, that it's worth giving ourselves another chance, even if it became a last chance, a last opportunity. It was worth giving ourselves that opportunity to convincing ourselves that yes, the elected representatives of the people in the 10th Parliament were unable to grapple, unable to address those issues, and as a consequence were quite prepared to hand over the discussion, hand over the handling, the conclusion of those issues to another set of elected representatives, this time from the 11th Parliament.
According to Dr. Luncheon, government remains hopeful that the opposition would respond to the President's invitation in a timely fashion. But if the opposition's response is not favorable, the President, he said, will be left with no other choice.
I think the President is quite clear that there would be no return to a second prorogation or a re-prorogation, that the only option would be for another proclamation, and this one to deal with the dissolution of the 10th Parliament. The issue then essentially becomes, at what point in time does a no to talks bite? What point is a no considered irrevocable, binding? At what point?
Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
With effect from today, November 19, 2014, Guyana has reduced visa and travel restrictions on West African states. The government had implemented strict regulations and restrictions during the initial stage of the Ebola epidemic. More details from Svetlana Marshall.
Keeping in mind the recommendations from the international health organizations, WHO and PAHO, Cabinet decided to ease its visa and travel restrictions on West African states.
The decision, which was taken by Cabinet on Tuesday, took effect today. However, restrictions remain in place for Liberia, Guinea, Sierra Leone and Mali. The decision comes days after the Prime Minister, Samuel Hinds, represented Guyana at a CARICOM forum on Ebola. In October, the government placed restrictions on the issuance of visas to nationals of Ebola-hit West African countries in an effort to stave off the virus that has killed over 4,000 people.
Colwyn Hardin was yesterday removed from the intensive care unit at the St. Joseph Mercy Hospital, where he had undergone a major surgery after succumbing to pains from his ruptured intestines after being allegedly sodomized in November 2013. Hardin explained that the bag was inserted to assist him with excretion due to his inability to do so, but he continued to experience a significant amount of pain and discomfort. The colostomy bag, which he had worn over the last year, was on Saturday successfully removed, thus aiding his road to recovery from the 2013 alleged sodomy incident. Nevertheless, Hardin has indicated his concern over the burden of the hospital bills, which total over $2 million Ghana dollars that the surgery has left in its wake. This is the Evening News. The news continues on the other side of the break. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with the Evening News. Chairman of the Guyana Reparations Committee, Dr. Eric Phillips, says Guyana is one step closer to presenting its case to Europe as Caribbean countries move forward and move closer towards compensation and corrective restoration for the activities of genocide and slavery committed against Amerindians and African slaves. Alexis Rodney has this report.
In a telephone interview with the Evening News today, Dr. Phillips disclosed that the committee has been meeting weekly, setting things in order for the December 13 deadline. The committee has been tasked with addressing the terms of reference, which includes giving a corrective narrative of the history and impact of African slavery in Guyana between 1621 and 1966. This report, Phillips said, will be handed over to the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, which will in turn hand it over to President Donald Ramotar. The appropriate representation will be made by the CARICOM Committee with Europe. Phillips told the Evening News that he is confident of the continuous progression of this endeavor, especially since Guyana has moved leaps and bounds ahead of many of its Caribbean counterparts. He related that the committee is also moving in the direction of establishing a National Youth Committee within the National Committee, a first-time initiative for any reparation committee within the Caribbean. The Caribbean Reparations Committee, which was launched in July of last year, had set a number of demands to the former European slave trade nations. Those demands include that those nations provide diplomatic help to persuade countries such as Ghana and Ethiopia to offer citizenship to the children of the people of the Caribbean to return to Africa, devising a developmental strategy to help improve the lives of poor communities in the Caribbean, and supporting cultural exchanges between the Caribbean and West Africa, among other things. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
Thanks, Alexis. Restaurant Week is a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Tourism, the Guyana Tourism Authority, and the Tourism Hospitality Association of Guyana, and is one of the many events on the activity calendar for the Tourism Awareness Month 2014, as we hear in this report.
From November 24 to 30, Guyana will be observing Restaurant Week 2014, where various restaurants will offer reduced prices for prefixed menus, providing a special treat for customers while boosting tourism in Guyana. An official from the GTA noted that Restaurant Week is an opportunity for restaurants to showcase their creativity and diversity of food, allowing persons to appreciate and become more aware of what Guyana has to offer. However, restaurants will not be the only entities benefiting from Restaurant Week, since the week is expected to attract a wide range of tourists, hotels, stores, and other local businesses at an advantage of benefiting. The public can also use this opportunity to dine at a deluxe restaurant at a reduced cost. Tourism Awareness Month 2014 is celebrated under the theme Tourism Entrepreneurs and Ambassadors Mobilized. Senior Communications Officer of GTA Chevon Lim stated that they have received great response to Tourism Awareness Month activities and look forward to execute the remaining activities for the month. For the Evening News, Samantha Lane.
The Canadian Oil and Gas Exploration Company, CGX Energy Incorporated, recently announced that it will soon begin drilling a new well on the company's 100% owned and operated Corentyne block offshore Guyana. Alexis Rodney reports.
The Hakaruyu 12 jack-up rig from Japan Drilling Company, which will be used to drill the company's well, is unscheduled for completion by January 2015. The company, with the assistance of the technical team at Pacific Rubiales Energy Corporation, has defined the well location and is in the process of planning its drilling activities for 2015. Chief Executive Officer of the company, Dewey Jones, said that CGX will be drilling the Kubukali prospect offshore Guyana. The Kubukali-1 well will test the upper Cretaceous geologic objectives to an anticipated total depth of 4,502 meters. It is expected to take some 73 days to drill. This drilling emphasizes CGX Energy's continued efforts in evaluating the petroleum potential of this highly prospective basin. CGX Energy is also moving forward with its initial period Phase 1 commitment on the Berbice block by acquiring, processing, and interpreting 3,000 line kilometers of airborne geophysical data. The company has contracted Sander Geophysics Limited to perform the airborne gravity and magnetic survey. According to the release, the survey will provide it with additional data necessary to optimally position its 2D seismic survey, which will likely take place next year. The Canadian company CGX holds 3 licenses in the Guyana-Suriname Basin, a frontier basin in South America with a proven hydrocarbon system and highly prospective deep water plays that can be drilled in shallow water. The company is pursuing the equatorial Atlantic margin play, analogous to West Africa and Brazil, and is surrounded by major oil companies including Anadarko, Apache, Exxon, Inpex, Cosmos, Murphy, and Repsol. For the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
40-year-old Michael Douglas of 111 Miles, Madhya, Region 8, Pataro, Superuni, was today placed on $90,000 bail after being charged with unlawful wounding. The man appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Magistrate Judy Latchman. It was alleged that on November 17 at 111 Miles, Madhya, at the Essequibo Magisterial District, he unlawfully and maliciously wounded Dion Gillis. Police Prosecutor Inspector Joel Ricknott requested that the Application of Justice Act be applied when the defendant denied the charge against him. Douglas was placed on $90,000 bail and will make his second court appearance before Magistrate Anne McLennan tomorrow morning. In this report, we hear that Guyana is set to achieve a production of more than 627,000 tons of rice by the end of this current crop. More details in this report.
Already, the rice production currently stands at 627,463 tons. However, there are several small areas in regions 5 and 6 that are yet to be harvested. Back in October, the industry broke 2 records, that is, hitting a 600,000 production mark and recording the highest quantity of rice exported with 400,000 by the end of October. Thus far for the year, Guyana has exported 423,900 tons, but has been contracted to supply only 90,176 tons. This means Guyana has exceeded 500 tons for 2014. This year's projected target was less than 500,000. However, that figure was revised in August to 607,000. In 2013, rice production was recorded at 535,555 tons, following the 2012 production of 422,000 tons. Total export for last year amounted to 395,000 tons, 58% of which was exported to Venezuela, with other significant buyers being Europe, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and other Caribbean countries. Last year, in excess of 200,000 acres of land was cultivated, making it the first time cultivation acreage exceeded 200,000. However, this year's exceeding production saw a continuous increase in the acreage cultivated. Rice production in Guyana has been high of recent, with 2014, 2013 and 2012 being among the highest yielding years. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchan.
The news continues after these messages. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with the Evening News. Masjid an-Najim and Social Center today held its 4th annual medical outreach in All Boys Town. Royden James was there and he filed this report.
The An-Najim Masjid and Social Center today held its 4th annual medical outreach program on the lawns of the Masjid in All Boys Town. Director of the Masjid, Nahi Mohammed, speaking to this newscast, shared more about the program.
The objective of today's exercise is just part of our bigger mandate in assisting in fulfilling the social obligations of the people in All Boys Town. We have been doing this for the past 3 years, and as you know, there is only one medical center in All Boys Town. So this really will enhance and assist in bringing medical needs to the people.
He also shared with the Evening News some of what the outreach offers.
What we have here today, we have the outpatient, which is general checkups being done. We also have the VIA, which is cervical cancer tests being done. We also have the dental team. They are doing cleaning, extraction and filling. So this is what we have today.
Masjid an-Najim and Social Center is also a community-based organization which involves in a number of extracurricular activities such as feeding programs, caring for the elderly, among others. Royden James, reporting for the Evening News.
Thanks, Royden. Regions 10 Christenberg Wismar Secondary School emerged winners of the annual National J.F. Haynes Memorial Inter-Secondary Schools Debating Finals. Details in this story.
The finals of the J.F. Haynes competition were held at the Guyana Theatre Guild Playhouse this morning. The competition was organized by the Ministry of Education. The debate saw Christenberg Wismar Secondary School and Queen's College vying for supremacy and top honors. The mood for a heated debate was, private sector polluters have a corporate social responsibility to voluntarily invest resources for environment protection. QC, which opposed the moot, amassed 260 points, while Christenberg Wismar secured 275 points. Assistant Chief Education Officer Leslie Edwards Charles gave an overview of the competition.
This competition is one designed to involve a as possible. During the Easter term, April, the best debating teams at the class level, debating teams from other classes within the school, and the best team from the school got the opportunity to represent that school at the intra-regional debating competition. During the period April to July, the regional competitions were held in each education district. The winning school got the honor of representing the education district at the national level. At the national competition this year, Region 1 was represented by the Santa Rosa Secondary School, Region 2 by Anna Regina Secondary School, Region 3 by La Ventura Secondary School, Region 4 by Diamond Secondary School, Region 5 by Bushlat Secondary School, Region 6 by New Amsterdam Secondary School, Region 7 by 3 Miles Secondary School, Region 8 by Paramakatoy Secondary School, Region 9 by St. Ignatius Secondary School, Region 10 by Christian Work Wisma Secondary School, and Georgetown by Queen's College.
Best Speaker was awarded to the first speaker of the opposing team, Stefan Gabriel. Both teams exemplified an excellent command of English language, persuasive and convincing charms, and research. Various officials from the ministry were present at the event, including the Minister, Priyamanik Chan. The J.O.F. Haynes Memorial Intersecondary School Debating Competition is used to celebrate the oratorical expertise of the late Joseph Oscar Fitzclarence Haynes. J.O.F. Haynes was identified as one of the most brilliant and eminent lawyers of his generation. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Erica Williams.
CUSO International yesterday held a mainstream gender training for a number of organizations that have the capacity to educate members of the society on gender issues.
Gender specialist Gillian Hess says that mainstreaming gender involves removing the boundaries between the sexes.
Yeah, gender equality is not just about women's rights and women's empowerment, it's about equal access for both men and women, and boys and girls.
She explained that society is made up of a number of organizations that have the capacity to mobilize persons towards such thinking.
And we are talking about these concepts generally and in the Guyanese context. Later this afternoon, we will continue our discussion on gender-based violence and then work on gender mainstreaming, how all of the organizations in this room can work on mainstreaming gender principles, gender issues, and so on in their programming, hiring practices, and so on.
It is the international organization's goal to ensure that its sessions enable talks within the homes, the workplaces, and the streets on the importance of the mainstreaming gender.
We want to make sure that people leave the room thinking about ways to make that happen, and hopefully some of the organizations in the room will put together some policies or programs to that effect.
Royden James reporting for the Evening News.
On the other side of the break is your regional and international news. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Together, let's take a look at your regional and international news. Regionally, officials have said that a Cuban doctor working in West Africa has been diagnosed with Ebola. The medic was in Sierra Leone when he caught the virus and is due to be transferred to Geneva for treatment, according to Cuba's health ministry. He is believed to be the first case from the Latin American country. Cuba has received widespread praise after sending more than 250 medical staff to West Africa, with 200 more preparing to travel there. Since the disease's outbreak, the island nation has sent more frontline staff to afflicted regions than any other country. Its efforts have been praised internationally, including by officials in the United States, which has maintained an economic embargo on Cuba for more than 5 decades. More than 5,000 people have died in the current Ebola outbreak. Now, internationally, 2 men have been arrested after Honduras beauty queen Maria Jose Alvarado, 19, and her sister were found dead nearly a week after disappearing. Alvarado and her sister Sofia Trinidad, 23, vanished on Thursday after being seen leaving a party near the northern city of Santa Barbara. Both women were shot and their bodies buried in a field by a river, police say. Alvarado had been due to compete in the Miss World contest in London. Poltaraco Ruiz, said to be the boyfriend of Trinidad, was detained along with another man, Iris Malandano. Ruiz confessed to shooting the 2 women and then burying their bodies with the help of Mr. Mirando. Honduras National Police Director Glenn Ramon Salbion told the media the bodies were found in the village of Cabalates near the river Aguagual, police announced earlier. It's now time for a look at your bridge report. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed from 14 hours 30 on Thursday, November 20 for a period of 1.5 hours. The Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed from 15 hours on Thursday, November 20 for a period of 1.5 hours. Join me after these messages for your sport news.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Bridge.
Welcome back. It's now time for a look at your sport news on the evening news. Let's start, of course, with your headlines. Nationals open with colourful march past. Darren Bravo opts out of South Africa tour. Pakistan spinner Mohammad Hafiz to face bowling tests. And Australia beat South Africa by 73 runs in the third one-day international. The news is brought to you with the kind compliments of Macor.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Bridge.
Welcome back. Let's start the sportscast this evening by telling you that the National Schools Athletics, Swimming, Cycling and Teachers Championships were officially declared open on Wednesday at the Ghana Defence Force Ground Camp in Ghana. Tristan Joseph was present and, of course, he filed this report.
The ceremony saw all 15 districts clad in their colourful zone uniforms doing the march past, while defending champions North Georgetown, District 11, lit the game's torch. A well-choreographed dance by the Lodge Secondary School was also a nice addition to the event. However, President of the Guyana Teachers Union, Mark Light, pinpointed that development is key to grow the event.
In light of what we have seen over the years, Athletic Championship has a far way to go. We need to play more emphasis on the welfare of our young people who, if not guided and channeled in the right direction, can be lost to the ills of society.
Prime Minister Samuel Hines, who declared the championships open, urged the organizers to truly develop the event.
I would like to challenge and encourage the GTU and the Ministry of Education to make this the most national event. The event that represents all our people more than any other. And we should make this so, more and more so, each year.
Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Education Officer of the Ministry of Education, Donna Chapman, highlighted the legacy of the event, stressing that next year should be the year the event is held for the first time on a synthetic surface in the Lenora synthetic track. The event will now see the best of Guyana's athletes vying for supremacy to be the top district in Guyana.
Thanks, Tristan. Meanwhile, North Georgetown District 11 was off to a flyer of a start in an effort to retain their National Schools Championships title when they won the swimming championship on Tuesday at the National Aquatic Center, Linyandal, Greater Georgetown. The defending champions of the event were the favorites to win in spite of the absence of Guyana's star swimmer Brittany Van Lang. North Georgetown finished ahead of Northwest, which took second place, and Upper Demerara Kokwani District 10, which fell to third. Also on Tuesday, Romalio Crawford of Quarantine District 6 sprinted home to win the boys 4 km cycle road race, while on the staff side, Tashana Doris won the event for District 11 North Georgetown. West Indies batsman Darren Bravo has opted out of the tour of South Africa for personal reasons. Bravo is the only name missing from the original lineup by the WICB, which had made it mandatory that all players had to sign the tour contracts before Tuesday afternoon. Rajiv Bisnot reports.
The WICB indicated through a press release that it will name a replacement for Bravo in due course. Bravo had also asked the Trinidad and Tobago selectors earlier to not consider him for the regional 4-day competition, which started last week. The WICB did not disclose the circumstances behind Bravo's pullout. Darren Bravo wrote to Chairman of Selectors Clive Lloyd and requested not to be considered for the test series due to personal reasons, the WICB release stated. Meanwhile, the WICB late on Tuesday confirmed that 14 of the 15 players offered match tour contracts for the upcoming Test Tour of South Africa have signed and returned the contracts. The signing of the player contracts had assumed critical importance in the aftermath of the West Indies one-day squad pulling out of the India Tour last month. But by signing the contracts for the South Africa Tour, the players have put faith in the ongoing negotiations between the WICB and West Indies Players Association. The 14 players who have signed the match tour contracts are Dinesh Ramdin, Captain, Suleiman Ben, Jermaine Blackwood, Craig Braffett, Shivnarayan Chandrapal, Sheldon Cotterill, Shannon Gabriel, Christopher Gale, Jason Holder, Leon Johnson, Kemar Roach, Marlon Summers, Jerome Taylor, and Cadwick Walton. The West Indies are due to play South Africa in 3 test matches, 3 T20 games, and 5 ODIs.
Pakistan and Ghana Amazon Warriors off-spinner Mohammad Hafiz will fly to England next week for a test after he was reported for a suspected bowling action. Hafiz was reported during the first test match against New Zealand in Abu Dhabi last week, in which Pakistan won by 248 runs. The 34-year-old all-rounder will be tested at Loughborough from Monday, the Pakistan Cricket Board confirmed. Under International Cricket Council regulations, a bowler must be tested within 21 days of being reported. Hafiz, who has played 39 tests and 149 one-day internationals, was also reported during a domestic league game in India in September and could be suspended from bowling in international matches if he fails to clear the test. A century from opener Aaron Finch helped Australia to a 73-run victory against South Africa in the third one-day international in Canberra. Finch scored 118 in 20 overs with David Warner 53 and struck 9 fours and 3 sixes in his 5th ODI 100. Steve Smith was named man of the match after his unbeaten 73 from 55 balls helped the home side to, of course, score 329 for 5. Hassim Alna made 102, but with Imran Tahir absent, South Africa closed on 256 for 9 and trailed 2 for 1 in the 5-match series. The next match is another night encounter, and this time it will be at the Melbourne Cricket Club ground on Friday. And that has brought us to the end of the evening news for today, Wednesday, November 19, 2014. I am Michael Young, thanking you very much for joining us and encouraging you to pick up a copy of the Ghana Times tomorrow for details of these stories and others. Until then, be well.